Who pays the piper calls the tune. It's a proverb that fits one view of financial planners like a glove, and industry seen as working for commissions, not clients. So laws to reform financial advice are going before Parliament. But some insiders say one of the key planks is in jeopardy. The industry lobby has convinced the opposition and key independents to fight a bill to make financial planners get their clients' consent every 2 years if they want to keep taking fees. As Stephen Long reports, dissident voices in the industry say they want the reform.
It's a battle for independence.
Go again. 1, 2, hook, puff. Good, again.
Claire Mackay is one of a new generation of financial planners fighting to reform the industry.
1, 2.
A lot of people say to me, why would you want to become a financial planner? It's akin to being a car salesman, or a used car salesman, even worse. But I'm proud of what I do. The value that a financial planner can add to an Australian mum and dad investor is immeasurable.
If you knock out the conflicts of interest that lead to tainted advice from advisors who are really salesmen, paid by banks and insurance companies to tout their wares.
The way the industry is structured at the moment is that fees are not paid directly by a client to their advisor. They're paid via commissions or volume rebates or kickbacks, and clients have no idea really how much they're paying. Financial planning is not product selling. Financial planning is devising strategies for the long-term financial security of your client.
7:30 spoke to independent financial advisors who've blown the whistle on the conflicts of interest that mar the industry.
We had pre-packaged solutions in mind before the client even walked in the door.
Matthew Ross runs a financial advisory firm at Hawthorn in Melbourne. He's another young professional who rejected the old industry culture after a decade working for firms giving conflicted advice in what he calls a poisoned industry.
When I was working for other people, they were telling me what advice to give and what products to push and who to see and what fees to charge, and I got very frustrated with it because I knew there were better options out there for my clients, but I didn't have the freedom to choose.
Pay off debt is often the best advice he can give, but it wasn't encouraged when he worked for a major bank.
There was a requirement or a pressure to put money into a particular platform to make money for the business.
What have we got here, Matt?
This is one of my favourite Dilbert cartoons, which explains one of the biggest issues that's out there. For a 1% annual fee, I'll invest your money with a certified financial planner. He'll then charge 1% per year to put your money into a mutual fund that charge 1% per year.
Everyone gets a cut.
The client asks, will I make any money? And the financial advisor says, I don't see you doing any of the work. And this is the attitude that's out there.
If you're going to get advice from somebody, i.e. seek advice from an advisor, a professional advisor, then you expect it to be impartial. You expect it to be independent. The problem I think that the financial planning industry per se has at the moment is that it is wanting to behave in some ways like a sales outfit and yet be regarded as a profession.
Daniel Bramall is president of the Independent Financial Advisors Association, a fledgling network of professionals who charge their clients for independent advice and shun all payments from financial services companies. But as we drove with him on a busy, rainy day in Canberra, he explained it wasn't always that way.
Well, I started in the industry in 1992 as a life insurance agent, but I've been a financial planner now for nearly 20 years. And it wasn't until 2007 that I made the decision that we should open up an independent practice.
Why was that?
Well, it was because we basically decided that we couldn't give the sort of advice that was independent, genuinely independent to our clients.
So you were flogging product?
Yeah, effectively we were flogging product rather than actually giving genuine advice.
This poacher-turned-gamekeeper advised the government and the corporate watchdog ASIC on professional standards and ethics for financial planners, and he helped influence legislation now before Parliament, which aims to curb conflicted advice. For new clients, not existing ones, the financial advice reforms would ban commission payments to planners for selling financial products, impose a fiduciary duty requiring financial advisors to put the best interests of the client first, and make them get a signed agreement from the client every 2 years if they want to keep charging fees, a practice known as opt-in.
It's a piece of redundant legislation that's overkill, that's putting red tape in the way of clients dealing with their financial planners. It's an extra burden that consumers don't need to bear.
The Financial Planning Association supports most of the reforms and has opposed commission payments to planners for years, but it's firmly against opt-in.
Nowhere else in the world are consumers forced to renegotiate their contract with their financial advisor every year or every 2 years. It shouldn't be to a government to interfere in the contract that a client has with their professional. I mean, that's just taking legislation too far.
The purpose that opt-in serves is to ensure that financial planners earn the fees they charge. How can that be a bad thing?
To see why some old-style planners detest opt-in, you need to understand the business model. Many firms rely on what's known as passive income, servicing some clients, but taking an ongoing cut of other people's super or investments while giving them little or no service.
For a long time, financial planning has been a passive income opportunity. That's the reason why a number of accountants have moved into it. They've seen it as money for jam.
Getting paid money for nothing.
Correct.
Many of these businesses have more clients than they actually see day to day, and they'll prioritise their clients in A, B or C and only deal with the A's, leaving the B's and C's, who are long since forgotten, to languish, having their accounts deducted by fees for services that they're largely not receiving.
A campaign in marginal seats by old-style financial planners and their industry lobby groups has placed opt-in in jeopardy, convincing the opposition and key independents to oppose it.
In regard the issue of the technical term opt-in, where financial advisors have to write to all their clients and get a written response to keep them as clients every 2 years. I think there's a bit of personal responsibility required, a bit of buyer beware like in any market, and so I think that one element is a bit of overreach, but 95% of it, and what is a broad package, is very strongly supported.
How can you support a situation where financial planners can get paid money for nothing? Because if they don't have to renew the relationship with a client every 2 years, they can keep on extracting fees while providing no advice.
Personally, I don't think a letter every 2 years to lock in a client and say, are you satisfied with me, does the job. I think it's full fee disclosure plus the best interest test that does that. I think all we're adding is an administrative burden and chasing up clients around the edges when really no other market that I'm aware of has that similar standard.
I don't get it. There's a complaint that it's going to increase costs. I don't see where. If I have to see my client regularly to discharge my services anyway, then it doesn't create an administrative burden to have them sign a piece of paper saying, yes, you're still hired.
What will it mean for firms that have had that passive income if you don't have opt-in?
It means that it's business as usual. There's no change. There's no requirement to talk to their clients on a regular basis about the services they're providing and the fees they are charging. And if we are striving towards professionalism, which as a young financial planner I want, then there comes obligations with that.
On opt-in, these purists may not be on the winning team, but the fight for independence has only just begun.
Stephen Long reporting.